welcome back everybody. Last night I was preparing for myself something to eat, and one of those things for that preparation was toast. But I left it in the toaster too long and I burned it. Now I did end up eating the food anyway, since sometimes I do enjoy the taste of burnt toast. But what I noticed was after I was done with my meal, there was a lot of crumbs left over in the plate, a lot of dark burned crumbs. So it started to give me an idea. A lot of people like to use particle brushes, and they'll sometimes download a stock image in order to get their particle brush from that image. But what I was doing with this idea rolling around in my head was I played around with the crumbs on the plate and I started to take a couple of pictures. Now, this one here, I didn't like it because there was too much gloss on the front of the plate that I ate off of. So what I did was I took some of those crumbs and threw in a couple more after I made another piece of toast and put it on the back of the plate. Now in here we have a lot more contrast. The toast crumbs show up a lot darker on this, and I was able to have a lot more fun with this. Now we're going to create a particle brush from this, and in order to do that, first we're going to take this background image and make a copy of it, and then we're going to go to the image menu, adjustments, and desaturate. Then we're going to zoom in to full size 100% until we find the right area that I want to pull some particles from for this brush. And I'll work around here. Now on this background copy, we're going to want a layer adjustment. So we're going to go for levels here. And in our properties panel, these three little icons over here, we're going to use the bottom one. This is the white eyedropper tool. Click that, and anywhere that should be white in this image, the white of the back of the plate I was using, we click that white eyedropper tool, and that brings up the white level for everything corresponding to that color, that level of gray that I clicked on. Everything gets turned to white. It in turn makes everything a little bit lighter. So up at the top of these three icons, I'm going to click the black eyedropper tool and click on any one of these crumbs in order to bring that level darker. So I'm going to click on this one here, and that brings a lot of my crumbs much closer to the pure black that I want. I can choose another piece of crumb if I find it too light, like this one over here, and do the same thing. And that brings them even closer to black. I could stick with that, and I believe that's what I'll do, but I can add more if I like. I can work on this one here, and that's where I'll stick with it. Now from there I'm going to right click on the layer adjustment and choose merge down. And I'm going to get my elliptical marquee tool, and while holding down shift, click and drag a circle out until I find approximately how many of these particles I want in my brush. And I'll stick with just about here. And then I'll go to the edit menu and select define brush preset. And we're going to name this crumbs. Now let's go back to the full size of the image here and deselect that selection, create a new layer, fill it with white, and select our brush tool. And now we have our particle brush, and we can make some adjustments to that. I'm going to increase the spacing a little bit, and in shape dynamics, the size jitter all the way up to 100%, and the angle jitter all the way up to 100%, leaving the control for both of them off. In scattering, select both axes and just increase it a little bit. And now we have our particle brush here from the toast crumbs. Now you can continue to adjust this, increasing the scattering or the spacing to whatever you like here. But this is just one way to do it with the toast crumbs that I had. Let me delete this layer here. Now from anywhere on this plate, you have an almost endless variety of crumbs to use for your particles. If you find that some of the plate would be a little bit too gray, you could do the same thing, adding an adjustment layer for levels and using the white eyedropper tool to click somewhere on the gray that you want to bring up towards white, and then search for your particles. And you could continue to do that and have an almost limitless supply of particle brushes that you could create from this. Now, besides the crumbs that I used, I also decided to experiment with, and I pulled down some coffee from my cabinet and then did the same thing on the back of the plate. Now we can do the same thing here. I'm going to zoom in and find a suitable area to pull some particles from. Well, we'll go with around here. We do the very same thing. Make a copy of your background layer and make sure to desaturate it. And choose the levels layer adjustment. With the white eyedropper tool, click anywhere on the gray of the plate and then choose the black to click on any one of these coffee particles. Then merge this down. And with your elliptical marquee tool, make a selection of what you want to bring into your particle brush and edit Define Brush Preset. We'll call this coffee. And if you want to play with this brush, do the same thing by creating a new layer, fill it with white, and enjoy playing with your new particle brush here. Now, besides just using it as a particle brush for particle effects, some of the much smaller particles, I have found that they work very well for skin textures and any other kind of minuscule effect that you want to have. Anything with the tiny little dust-like particles, you can use your toast, you can use your coffee, and you'll have yourself a unique particle brush to play around in your images. So basically, it's that simple. If you have yourself a piece of toast and a paper plate, just take an image with your camera, with your phone, bring it into Photoshop, and use what I did here to turn your waste into a particle brush. I hope you had fun and learned something. Thank you, and I will see you next time.